How would you like to proceed?
So everybody, when you come up, just say your name and what you're going to be singing. I want to hear both songs right off the bat. So just sing one, then say what the next one is, sing the other, and then we'll do some work together. Everybody else, please save all your applause until we finish working. Okay, so just finish the song ends, wait. Okay.
And FYI, they've never sang with Wendy, rehearsed any of this, so there might be a little bit of...
We're gonna have fun, right,
It's
Wendy?
exciting.
Yeah.
My name is
Really raises the
Vince.
stakes. Raises the stakes, yes.
Raises the stakes. So we got stakes going here.
The
My
other
name
thing,
is Vince.
don't sing directly to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
We did that last year, Scott. That was
Yeah,
very
only if I say so.
My name is Vince. Wendy and we're working on Free at Last from Big River, and then we'll go over to Maria from West Side Story.
Did you do the whole thing or just stop at the end of the solo?
For Free at Last,
It's the whole thing.
there's choir accompaniment to it, but the melody's held on the solos.
Just go to measure 4.
Sure, please. I wish my coffee high could spread my wings and fly, and let my grounded soul be free for just a little while, to be like eagles when they rise up on the wind and taste the sweetest taste of freedom for my soul, and I'll be free at last, free at last. Great God Almighty, I'll be free at last, free at last, free at last. Great God Almighty, I'll be free at last, free at last, free at last. Great God Almighty, I'll be free at last, free at last. Oh, free at last. Great God Almighty, I'll be free at last.
Thank you. And the next one?
Maria from West Side Story.
Cool.
On this, Julie, we hadn't decided all of the Marias because of the way it's written.
Yeah, no, just do whatever.
I kind of have a plan, sort of.
Yep, go with it.
All right. We get a measure of silence.
Want to give them it?
So do you just want to hit that chord
Yeah.
and then the next note?
Okay.
The most beautiful sound I ever heard. Maria, Maria, Maria. All the beautiful sounds of the world in a single word. Maria, Maria, Maria. And that's the whole solo part there.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice. What's the note, the last note of that Big River song?
The answer to that question is C, D, E, F. It's an F.
I don't think I've heard you really got that. That's very good, very nice. Okay, so I'm going to start technical.
Please, yes.
So the good thing about being this close is I can see right inside your mouth when you say it.
What a viewpoint.
Yeah.
Right.
So
He opens it enough.
Yeah, no, seriously, like your mouth is open and it's great. Well, I'm seeing a lot of this with your tongue.
Okay.
Okay, so on a lot of vowels, let's really try and get it flattened out.
Okay.
But what I'm finding technically what's happening with your voice a lot, and that's why it was great to hear you do that last note.
Sure.
Because it was so forward, and I
Right.
was like, oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
But the rest of it was, it feels very in the back of your throat.
Okay.
Now you have a very naturally resonant voice,
Okay.
which is great. I'm finding that the more it sort of sits back here in this kind of space
yeah.
here, it's not like, I'm not coming from a place where you're doing anything wrong.
No. Thank you.
But the more that it sits back here, the more that you seem to rely on the vibrato a bit.
Okay.
The more it's just kind of it feels like this is comfy. I can just sort of leave it
let's
here.
hang out here.
Yeah. So I need you to try and go against maybe what you're
Okay.
used to.
Okay.
And it's going to sound weird, but try to sing in straight tone.
Okay.
Don't rely on your vibrato, because you have it. It's a very robust vibrato.
Okay.
But I want to see what happens when you start thinking like getting the sound right here.
Okay.
And you are a baritone, so your voice has got that rich
Okay.
place, like right in the
Okay.
that baritone range.
Okay.
But even at that place, you can still get it forward, and you can still. So what's
We just want to play with it?
yeah. Just start.
I wish by golly I, or do you want
Yeah,
to go
right from the top of the river.
What did we actually do there? Like 2 things in sure, I'll just jump in. I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly.
Okay, so right off the bat, you see how much the vibrato
Yes.
gets in like that? I get it. Okay.
Okay.
So
So less of that.
so what I'm looking for, like, it's interesting. I saw Kinky Boots on Friday for the first time, finally. But I had 2 callbacks for that show, and I was like, what? Me? Like, what? And then I saw the show and I saw the guy they cast, and I'm like, oh, that's not me. It's okay. It's okay. He was like 300 pounds and like this tall, and yeah, it was fine. But in the audition, both auditions, Stephanie Gorin, who's like the top casting person of Toronto, she heard me sing. She had me do like a range test with the guy at the piano, and she had me sing, just kind of sight read some of the chorus stuff, and it had to go up to like A's and B flats. And so I did it once, and I could get the notes, but like I was very reliant on my vibrato to get me up there. Okay, but she's like, you got the notes, that's great, but just give me straight rock tone now. And I'm just like, oh shit, okay, sure. So when it's early. Can you give me just a C chord? Yeah, so if I'm going, like I'm used to really relying on the vibrato to kind of carry me up there. But she's like, no, you need to get it forward and you need to find that straight tone. So I have to go, and really just go for it. And that has to do with putting it right up here. And you're still supporting it, you're still doing everything that you're supposed to, but you're not necessarily letting this happen. And it can be very tricky for people. And this is why I just want you to introduce this opposite to you.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome.
Because it's now something that you can use in your tool belt as a singer. So what's the beginning? Just
I wish by golly
I wish.
my wings and fly.
Okay, so sing it just to nye.
Yeah.
Just nye 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 nye. Even more. Yeah, so right there, that you see how it's kind of like right
vibrates the
there?
nose, yeah.
Yeah, did that hurt or anything like that? Did that feel tense?
No.
So as opposed to thinking, what are the words? I wish by golly I could spread my wings.
Wings and fly, yeah.
I wish by golly which is right here.
Right.
It's not wrong. It's
Okay.
just where it's
Yeah,
placed.
yeah, yeah.
I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly, which is all here. I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Whoa! Wow. just try playing with it right now. Just try singing it like that.
Sure, let's do that.
I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly.
That was a little far off.
That's okay. Keep going. Just keep
Spread my
playing.
wings and fly, and let my grounded soul be free for just a little while.
On that note right there.
While,
Yeah. Yeah.
to be like eagles when they ride upon the wind and taste the sweetest taste of freedom for my soul.
Okay, cool. So that's what I'm talking about,
Okay.
getting the sound out
Out
of
of
your
the throat.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so again, did any of that
No, it
hurt?
doesn't
Did any
hurt.
of that, okay, great. So that shows you that you can play with your sound.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing all the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
And you know, I've watched you as a performer, and I've seen you sing a couple of times, and every time I'm like, oh, I wish you could just do this to be able to change it up
Sure,
a bit, and,
sure.
you know, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So now that you kind of have an idea of where that is, that's something in your tool belt,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? So the next time I see you sing, I want to see.
So, right. Don't you just want me sitting here lounging around comfortably in the...
Well, there's always a place for that, because you know what? That's where you're comfortable, and that's where you've sung for so long.
Sure.
Play with that a lot, right? See where you can find
Okay.
that forward sound.
Okay.
Because as soon as that vibrato sort of disappeared,
Right.
and it's new to you, so
Yeah,
it is
totally.
a bit forward. But like I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I know you can do that, and that sounds comfortable. But then when you changed it, I'm like, I want to know more.
Sure.
Even just with the sound, without even going into what you're
Singing about.
Yeah. Because you're showing the audience different things.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. I did want to say that to you. Okay. Now let's start again that song, and just don't worry about the technical. If you just want to sing it as you're comfortable, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be like, you didn't do this. Just let's focus now on what you're singing. So just get into that place and start again.
I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly, my grounded soul be free for just a little while, to be like eagles when they ride upon the wind and taste the sweetest taste of freedom for my soul. I'd be free at last, free at last. Great God Almighty, I'd be free at last.
Good, thank you, Buzz. That's right there. That great God Almighty is a great spot for you to try this.
Okay. Okay.
Great God Almighty. Yeah. So
Okay.
that it's just like straight tone. What you hear a lot in Broadway recordings and Broadway performers is, especially when they hit long notes,
Right.
they'll sit on that tone for as long as possible, and it'll be straight, and then
Right.
at the
Okay.
very end.
Okay. Okay. So it's an
That's-
intention.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's keeping that, but it's not from here. It's
Right.
not It's just I can't think of a song to do, but just sitting on that note and just holding it and supporting it, and then just releasing so that it does that natural thing, right?
Right.
But that right there, when you're doing this da 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 da, I think you can be a lot more casual with how you're singing this.
Okay.
I don't mean casual in the emotion or anything, but
Okay.
just don't worry so much about the consonants right now.
Okay.
We can hear what you're singing.
Okay.
Great God Almighty.
Great God.
Don't worry about it. Don't.
All right.
Great God Almighty, I'll be
Okay.
free at last.
Okay.
So if that's straight, then you can land on something.
Okay.
Playing with the colors of your voice. Be less concerned about getting every single note and every single consonant correct.
Okay.
I almost want to hear you make a little bit of a mistake.
Okay.
I want to hear your voice crack under the emotion or
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
But the thing about this, what are you singing about?
Jim's just been let out of a cage. This is Huck Finn, right?
Mhm.
Jim's just been let out of a cage.
Mhm.
But he recognizes that as long as he's black, he's never really free.
Right.
And so he's longing for that moment when he could truly be free and no
Right.
one would try to put him in a cage.
That's heavy stuff.
It's very heavy
That's
stuff.
heavy stuff. Are you black?
No, sir.
No. Unless I'm confused.
No,
Okay.
there's no mistake.
Okay, so this is a song that is a good example of something where you, this person,
Yeah.
are never, ever going to know exactly what this character is
Absolutely,
thinking.
100%. That's true.
With where you are in your life, with what you've been brought up, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, you will never experience,
Yeah.
God willing,
Yeah.
what this character is going through. Okay, so this is a perfect example of something that you have to make your own.
Right.
Because you understand the context, absolutely, and you know yourself just how horrible that is and where he wants to be. Okay, but this is where you go, okay, well, how can I find something of myself
Sure.
to bring into this so I can convey this message, even though I'm not a black slave,
Yeah.
So this to me, speak the lyrics. Just say them. And you can read them.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. So they start off with, I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly and let my grounded soul be free for just a little while.
Let my grounded soul be free for just a little while. Okay. So you're dealing with a lot of flying imagery and,
Sure, yeah.
and taking off and flying away. What? Keep going.
To be like eagles when they ride up on the wind
Mhm.
and taste the sweetest taste of freedom for my soul.
Mhm.
And I'd be free at last, great God Almighty, I'd be free at last. It repeats.
Repeats. Yeah.
Yeah.
So has there ever been a time in your life where you felt trapped?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. There's always some kind of context that we all have experienced about feeling trapped. And even though, this is what I'm going to say right now, even though that is a very hard place,
Yeah.
and it can be very emotional, this song is still about hope.
Right. Okay.
So it's coming from this place of, you know where you've been,
Right.
but you have that hope.
Right.
How many of these types of songs are about that?
Yeah.
I know where I've been, right? So it has that root, it has that base that you were singing from. But ultimately, even though you are pained, even though you know just how much you've suffered, you're not done.
Right.
You have places to go. You know that you can get there. You have that hope. So I want to see that on your face.
Okay.
I want to see you seeing your goals. I want to see you, the places that you want to be,
Okay.
and what that makes you feel.
Okay.
And there are opposites to be found in that, because you can have that hope, but also feel that it's really unattainable and
Right.
it's really far away.
Right.
So it can go back and forth, even in the context of a 2-minute song.
Right.
So let that inform what you're about to say then.
Okay.
So it doesn't all have to necessarily be, wow, I've had a shitty life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can be,
What if we, what if we go to page 38? To pick up to 38 and taste the sweetest taste of freedom for my soul and go into the free at last, great God Almighty, I'll be free at last. Because I think that's where the hope, is coming.
yeah, but if you start at the top, you still have
Okay.
place to go.
Okay.
So I don't want you to cheat yourself out of it.
Okay.
Try
Yeah,
to
okay. Thank you. I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly.
Stop. Sit on the chair. Okay, so you're in this place where you are praying to God.
Right.
Okay, this is the place to start from.
Okay.
Total despair.
Okay.
If you don't start from here, you have nowhere
You
to
know
go.
where to go. All right.
You start here, you need to get here.
Okay.
Start from this place. I wish my God.
Okay.
We're gonna have this.
Right on the measure.
I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly and let my grounded soul be free for just a little while.
Good. Change it.
To be like eagles when they ride up on the wind and taste the sweetest taste of freedom for my soul.
Let the hope carry you on.
And I'd be free at last. Free at last. Great God Almighty, I'd be free at last. Free at last. Whoa, free at last. Great God Almighty, I'd be free at last.
Good. So you see how you start from that place, and you got that journey. You got that journey in 30 seconds,
Right.
and people are already crying, right? Yeah, 30 seconds. You went from total despair to hope, and you carried that hope into the rest of the song.
Right.
Now, the rest of it does get a bit repetitive.
Right.
So now your job as the singer is to make sure that everything that you repeat is different.
Right.
You find different places to sing from.
Sure.
I'm not going to do that now.
Okay.
There was only one thing that I thought you could do. Is there a rest after I, golly I, or do you carry it?
There is. No,
There
it
is.
is.
I'd like to suggest that you don't take it.
Okay.
Make that one thought. I wish by golly I could spread my wings and fly.
Okay.
Make that all work.
Okay.
And see how that propels into the emotional bit. Good.
Okay.
Can I see Maria now?
Yes.
So this is a short one.
Yes.
Have you seen West Side Story? Do you know West Side Story?
I know the story.
You've never actually seen
It's
it?
in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, well, yes. So,
But I've never seen it. No.
So, you are now 16 years old, full of hormones, okay? Oh my God, you're in love, okay? So this is not something that's
Okay.
wallowing in anything,
Okay.
This is, oh my God, I could get late tonight, you know? Okay? So, sing from there.
Okay.
Go.
The most beautiful sound.
More, way
All
more,
right,
way
all
more.
right.
No, 16.
All right.
Hormones.
Okay.
Pretty lady. Boobs.
We men are rather machines. Yes. Okay. The most beautiful sound that I ever heard.
Oh my God!
Maria, Maria, Maria.
Every single time you say her name, it's like
Like ecstatic.
you're almost having an orgasm. Honestly,
All right, okay,
no,
okay.
seriously. This is where this has got to be. Like we and we don't have to focus on this.
He's gonna want to practice it every week.
So I'm just gonna go practice my song now. I'll be up in a little bit here.
Vince, number 5, do your homework.
Okay, so I don't actually have to go over this
Sure.
with you, but that's where it's got to be.
Okay.
Like I need to see the youthfulness. I need to see the
Sure.
horny 16-year-old.
Sure.
I've got to see someone who's just total puppy love and infatuated
Sure.
with this woman, because that's all you're thinking about.
Right.
You know, you don't care about the rivalry between the Sharks and the
Crips
Jets.
and the whatever the hell.
Yeah, at all.
So,
All of a sudden, nothing else matters. You gotta
Okay.
be excited, you gotta be in love, you gotta be
Okay.
horny, you gotta be infatuated,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
okay, absolutely.
Good.